Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Following a request from one of the viewers, in this video we're going to be taking a look at the Necrons Combat Patrol. So shout out to Jake for putting the request in, and if you are watching this, sit back, chill out, and hopefully you enjoy this video. Without further ado, let's dive on in. So here we have Amon Tech's Guard. I hope I said that right. And the ability for this combat patrol is reanimation protocols. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, the wording around this ability can be a little bit confusing, but we'll read it, break it down, and try and see if we can work it out together. So it reads as follows. At the end of your command phase, each unit from your army activates its reanimation protocols and reanimates D3 wounds. Each time such a unit reanimates a wound, point 1, if that unit contains one or more models with fewer than their starting number of wounds remaining, select one of those models. That model regains one lost wound. Point 2, if all models in that unit have their starting number of wounds, but that unit is not at its starting strength, one destroyed model is returned to that unit with one wound remaining. Once such a unit is at its starting strength and all of its models have their starting number of wounds, nothing further happens. Okay, so let's break it down. Let's say I roll a d3. I roll a d6 and half it to determine that. So let's say for the purpose of that, on the d6 I rolled a 6, which if it's a d3 it's going to be half of that, which is of course 3. Let's take a few units so we can use some examples. So the first will be a unit of Necron warriors. There's 10 models in that unit and each of those models have one wound. Let's say that I have lost 3 models, so I've got 7 left. Well, that 3 that I rolled would bring back those 3 warriors that were destroyed, because each one has 1 wound and the result that I rolled was a 3, so it brings them back. Let's try something a bit more tougher. They use the example down at the bottom here for Storpeck destroyers. I'll try and put my teeth in. They are usually in a unit of 3. They come in a unit of 3 in this combat patrol and they have 3 wounds. Let's say that one of those models has been completely destroyed and a second is on 2 wounds, so it's lost 1 wound out of its 3. Again, if we apply that result of 3 that we rolled to this situation, what will happen is that that second Szarekh destroyer that has 2 wounds, he would go back up to 3 wounds, so his full strength from one of those from the dice, and then the last 2 would bring back the third destroyer, which was destroyed, but he will be on 2 wounds because that was what was remaining on the dice. And finally, if we go for a single model, something like the Doomstalker that we get in this patrol, it has a wounds characteristic of 12. If we bring it down to say half wounds, so 6, we would simply apply the 3 to that 6 and it would go up to 9 wounds. So this is a particularly good army ability. This makes Necron units deceptively durable, in the sense that if you are going to attack their units, you really have to put some firepower or combat power into them, because they just will keep coming back. So next up we have the enhancement, and the default is overriding control, which reads: the bearer's unit is eligible to shoot in a turn in which it fell back. Now this is particularly good, as you'll be aware, being able to fall back and shoot is something that you are not usually able to do in the core rules. However, this enhancement allows the exception. All that I would say is that if you are planning to charge an enemy unit on the basis that you'll be able to utilise this enhancement, you want to be careful, because you want to have a bit of confidence that when it comes to you charging them, yes, fighting first, but them hitting you back, that you can survive that hit back first and foremost, but also when it does come to you falling back and shooting, you actually have enough of your unit left that the shooting will be worthwhile. This is also good because in 40k, in order to perform actions, you need to be eligible to shoot. Now, if your unit has been tied up, whether that's because you've charged something or something has charged you, if you need to perform an action, then you have this comfort blanket that you can fall back with this unit and perform an action. After that is the optional enhancement, which is Protocol of Resonant Focus, and that reads: in your command phase, select one enemy unit within 12 inches and visible to the bearer. Until the end of the turn, each time a friendly Necrons model makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, re-roll a hit roll of 1. Now, I think personally that this would be the better option for all comers. Firstly, I think that it's better when it comes to dealing with combat armies. With this first one that we've read, Overriding Control, you don't really want to be going ahead and charging things like Custodes or World Eaters, anything like that, just because you can do that and fall back and shoot. Whereas something like this, I think it's better at dealing with combat armies, but it also benefits shooting armies. And the reason why that is because it states that when a Necron model makes an attack, so because it doesn't specify shooting or fighting, it's applicable to both your shooting and your fighting. There are a few conditions to this. The first is that you have to be within 12 inches of the unit, and you have to be visible, so that is something just to take into account when it comes to using this enhancement. But I personally think that I would go with this second one here. Next are the secondary objectives, of which the default one is Reclaim and Dominate, which reads as follows: at the end of your turn, you score 4 VP if one or more Necron units from your army, excluding battle shocked units, are wholly within your opponent's deployment zone. So I think if I was to take this one, it would depend on a couple of things. I think the first is what sort of army that I'm facing, and when I say that, I would mainly be looking at how many units they have. If I'm facing something like Custodes, who, yes, they do have very tough units, but few of them, then I would potentially look at taking this because I outnumber them and I could make the role of one unit in my army purely just to go and achieve this secondary. The second thing is also what kind of deployment that I'm playing on. So if I'm playing on something like Dawn of War deployment, where it's long side to long side deployment, then again I would consider taking this secondary objective. If I was playing Custodes and playing on Dawn of War, then I'd probably definitely be taking this. But let's look at the second one. The optional secondary objective, Treasurers of Eons. At the start of the battle rounds, select one objective marker in no man's land. You score 3 VP each time a Necrons model from your army destroys an enemy unit that started the phase within range of that objective marker, or within range of the objective marker within your deployment zone, if there is one. So similar to the optional enhancement, I think that this secondary objective would probably be the better option, certainly the one that I would probably go with, because in order to achieve the default secondary objective, reclaim and dominate, I'm relying on one, having more units than my opponent, so that one unit that I dedicate to scoring that secondary objective can do so for the majority of the game without there being any threat to it. And also I'm relying on the deployment type. Whereas with this secondary objective, everybody is going to be trying to score victory points. That's how we win the game. So by my opponent trying to score victory points, if I'm able to receive a bonus to that by killing them off it and scoring secondaries, then I will take that. And also I'm not relying on the deployment zone or having more models than them. This can be used on any deployment zone against any form of army. In fact, it would probably be, again, the better option if you're facing any form of combat patrol that has a similar amount, if not more, units than you. Next up, we have the stratagems. The first is Molecular Resilience for 1 command point, and that is in your opponent's shooting or fight phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. One Necrons unit from your army that was selected as the target of one or more of those attacking units attacks. Until the end of the phase, models in your unit have the 5+ invulnerable save. So this is a good stratagem because it makes your unit that little bit more durable. However, I'm not sure how many units you're going to encounter from your opponent's side that have that much AP where you would be forced to take this, because there isn't a lot of AP usually in Combat Patrol. However, there are exceptional cases like the Hellblaster squad from the Dark Angels Combat Patrol. This would be very good to use against them, especially if you combine it, one, with the army ability, reanimation protocols, and even something like the benefit of cover, whether you're getting that through terrain or using the core strat, go to ground. If you have enough CP, that's really going to hurt your opponent. If they do have a nice expensive unit and they have AP2, AP3, you're in cover, whether that's through the terrain or if you use 1 CP to go to ground and then you use this to give you a 5+ invulnerable save, they're really going to feel that. But where I think that this strat really does shine is on one unit that we have in this patrol, which is the Canoptek Scarab Swarm. So they have a 6+ save and 4 wounds. By using this on them, you'll pull them back to a 5+ save, which is invulnerable. But also, if you are deciding to take the secondary objective, reclaim and dominate, and you're using your Scarab Swarm to be that unit that goes and scores it for you, it makes them that little bit more annoying for your opponent to deal with. The second stratagem is Disruption Fields for 1 CP. That is in the fight phase, one Necrons unit from your army that has not been selected to fight this phase. Until the end of the phase, add 1 to the strength characteristics of melee weapons equipped by models in this unit. So I'm going to be honest with you guys, straight up, this is going to be absolutely amazing on your Szarekh destroyers for a few reasons. So as it stands normally, their melee weapon baseline is 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, strength 7, AP -2 and 2 damage. This weapon is designed to kill Space Marines. And when we're talking about Space Marines, we're talking about any form of unit that has a similar stat line to toughness 4, 3+ save and 2 wounds. The reason why we can tell that is by looking at the strength, AP and damage of our weapons. However, at strength 7 we'd be wounding Space Marines on 3s. If we combine that with this stratagem, we go to strength 8, so we go from wounding them on 3s to 2s. If you combine this with the optional enhancement protocol of Resonant Focus, where your unit will get a reroll, a hit roll of 1, what you will have is 4 attacks each. There are 3 models in the unit, so 12 attacks, hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s, wounding on 2s, because you've gone from strength 7 to strength 8, AP -2, so you'll be taking them from a 3+ save to a 5+ save, and damage 2. So everyone that slips through, it kills a Marine. But there's more. When you use their Plasma Scythe War Gear ability once per battle, it gives their melee weapons devastating wounds. So you can work out on average how many of these will be going through and how many 6s you'll be getting. But what could happen is you could be very lucky, as I saw this weekend with Jake rolling 3 6s. He reduced a 5-man Marine squad down to 2, and that was just through devastating wounds. I'm pretty sure that the rest of the attacks killed the whole squad. If not, at least they're going to have to take a battle shock test in their next command phase. So it is a very powerful combination. Don't get me wrong, this can still help in areas, I'm sure, but really you want to be using this strat on the Scorpet Destroyers. It's very good. And the final one is Will of the Overlord. For 1 CP in your command phase, 1 Necrons unit from your army. Until the start of your next command phase, add 1 to the objective control characteristics of models in your unit. You can only use this stratagem if an Overlord model from your army is on the battlefield. So there is one catch to that. Our Overlord still has to be on the battlefield. However, when we have a look at him, we will see that he is deceptively tough, and that is without the army rule. But there's a few things that I just wanted to look into this because I think it's really important. So it is any unit in your army. It is not your Overlord's unit. He just has to be on the battlefield. Bearing in mind that this is done in the command phase, this would be completed in step 1 of the command phase. So before you do your animation protocol and before you score primary. So one thing to note, with your animation protocol and scoring primary, if 2 rules need to be resolved at the same point, it's the controlling player's decision as to which one you resolve first. So what you can do is that you can spend 1 CP to increase the OC of one of your units. You would naturally choose to do the Reanimation Protocol first to bring back more models, and then you would score your primary. So this is very powerful when it comes to flipping objectives to your side so that you can even score or prevent your opponent from scoring. So it's really good there, and I think that you'll probably want to use this most of the time on your warrior unit. That's a very powerful combination with those 3 there. This strat the granation protocol and scoring your primary, I think you'll do quite well. The first data sheet that we'll be looking at is Overlord Amontech, and he has a movement characteristic 5, toughness 5, 2+ save with 4+ unrunnable save, 6 wounds, 4+ leadership and 1 OC. So he is a durable character, especially when we look at his datasheet ability, Implicable Resilience. Each time an attack is allocated to this model, subtract 1 from the attack's damage characteristic. So your opponent is really going to have to put some firepower into him to destroy him. Just to note, you can't reduce damage 1 weapons to 0, it is only anything above that. He's equipped with 1 ranged weapon, which is the Tachyon Arrow, 1 shot, so we can only shoot it once per battle, at range 72, 1 attack, ballistic skill 2+, strength 16, AP 5, damage D6 plus 2. Now, this ranged weapon is equipped to deal with vehicles. Hitting on 2s, I would like to think that you'd be hitting most, if not all of the times. If not, maybe you can combine this, if you're lucky enough, with the enhancement protocols of Resonant Focus, where you can re-roll a hit roll of 1. At strength 16, the chances are you're going to be wounding most vehicles on 3s, and you could always save a CP for command re-roll, just in case you do roll that 2 or 1. At AP -5, D6 plus 2. If you've had to spend your CP to re-roll the wound roll, or maybe even the hit roll, then I'm sorry, I can only help you so much if you roll badly on the damage, but D6 plus 2 is very good. He has also got the melee weapon Overlord's Blade, which has devastating wounds, so for every wound roll of a 6, which is a critical wound, it causes a devastating wound, so essentially that model's unit cannot save that wound unless they have a feel no pain. And that's got 4 attacks, weapon skill 2+, strength 8, AP -3, 2 damage. So this weapon is very similar to the melee weapons that the Szarekh destroyers have, in that it is built for killing Space Marines with that stat line that we spoke about. And he can lead Necron warriors, which you're probably going to want to put him with them, if for anything, just abundant wounds to keep him alive. And the Necron warriors, they have movement 5, T4, save 4+, 1 wound, leadership 7 and 2 OC. They're equipped with 2 separate weapons. 5 has got the Gauss Flayer and the other 5 have got the Gauss Reaper. The Gauss Flayer has lethal hits, so for every hit roll of a 6 it automatically wounds the target, which is really going to help to punching into those targets that are stronger or tougher than the strength of our weapon, or it's generally just a nice thing to have if you're wounding targets on 4+, so 50-50 just helps more of that damage go through. Also has rapid fire 1 at range 24 inches, so 12 inches we're going to be getting 1 more attack, but as a baseline it has 1 attack, ballistic skill 4+, strength 4, AP- or AP 0 and 1 damage. So this is going to be aimed at light infantry, and when we talk about light infantry we are talking something like T3 with a 4+ save and 1 wound. So something like a guardsman or a termagant, this is going to be a good weapon into. And the second weapon, the Gauss Reaper, just has lethal hits, no rapid fire. Its range is 12 inches, so a bit shorter than the Gauss Flayer. 2 attacks though, Ballistic Skill 4+, Strength 5, AP -1 and 1 damage. So this would be exceptionally good into something like light infantry and may well be punching into Marines given that strength level and that AP. They also are equipped with melee weapons, which is a close combat weapon. Which is 1 attack each, weapon skill 4+, strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. It's not much to look at, but if you are going into something like light infantry, this may well help you, especially if you decide to go with the default enhancement of being able to fall back and shoot. Next is the Szarekh destroyers, and they are movement 7, T6, 3+ save, 3 wounds, leadership 7 and 2 OC. Now they are armed with the Szarekh hyperphase weapons, which what we spoke about. At the 4 attacks, weapon skill 3+, strength 7, AP -2, 2 damage, those marine killers we mentioned. And also the Plasma Scythe Wargear ability, giving them devastating wounds once per battle on their melee weapons. It's a very potent threat. The next we've also touched on about is the Canoptek Scarab Swarms at movement 9, so they're quite fast. T2, so they're very weak. At 6+ save, so they're not very good at saving at all. 4 wounds, 8+ leadership and 0 OC, so they cannot hold objectives. They are equipped with the Feeder Mandibles, which have lethal hits, the 6 attacks, weapon skill 5+, strength 2, AP 0, 1 damage. So these are the guys who we were talking about. You definitely want to be using them to score a secondary objective, reclaim and dominate if you decide to go with that. They're very fast moving, and when it comes to their wounds, if you combine that with the invulnerable save, they suddenly become very durable. And finally, we have the Canoptek Doomstalker. This is movement 7, T8, 3+ save with 4+ invulnerable save, 12 wounds, 8+ leadership and 4 OC. It's equipped with 2 ranged weapons. The first is the big one on top, which is the Doomsday Blaster, that has the blast keyword, so for every 5 models in the target unit you'll get 1 extra attack, and it also has the heavy keyword, so if you decide to remain stationary in your shooting phase you'll get +1 to the hit. Again, combining that with the optional enhancement, Protocol of Resonant Focus, all of a sudden it starts to become incredibly reliable, hitting on 3s and even potentially re-rolling 1s. But that has a 48-inch range. Attacks is D6 +1. Again, if you roll low, you may have enough CP to CP reroll as a contingency. Baseline is Ballistic Skill 4+, at Strength 14, AP 3, 3 damage. Now this is a very good stat line because it's going to be punching into 2 profiles. The first profile, we're looking at more elite infantry, things like Terminators, where they're toughness 5, a 2+ save, with a 4+ invulnerable save and 3 wounds. We're going to be wounding them on 2s because of strength 14. We're going to be pushing them to that invulnerable save of 4+ because of the AP, and on top of that, for everyone that slips through there's going to be 1 dead Terminator. But also this is very good at going into vehicles because of that strength also. We're going to be wounding most vehicles on 3s, and again, similar to the attacks, you can always have bit of CP there for CP reroll as a contingency to make sure that they get through. And the second weapon that it's equipped with is the Twin Gauss Flayer, which has lethal hits, rapid fire 1 and twin linked, so we're able to re-roll the wound roll. Range 24, 1 attack, ballistic skill 4+, strength 4, AP 0, 1 damage. So it's not much to look at, but ideally you want to be putting this into light infantry. And finally, the melee weapons that it has is the Doomstalker limbs, which is 3 attacks, weapon skill 4+, strength 6, AP 0 and damage 1. So if any light infantry get close to your Doomstalker, then it can kick them out of the way. But that is the end of this combat patrol. So it is a very exciting combat patrol in my opinion. There is the opportunity to put quite a few combinations together to make this play very well. If I was to go over a baseline, what I would recommend, obviously it's dependent on what army you're facing against, but as a baseline, what I would recommend is taking the Protocol of Resonant Focus as the enhancement, taking the Treasurers of Eon's optional secondary objective, and when it comes to our strats, the Mercurial of Resilience, that would be best with Arcanoptic Scarab Swarms. However, if we're not using it on them to achieve the default secondary objective, one good unit to put them on would be the Overlord with the Warriors. Combining that with the benefits of cover, whether that's through terrain or through core strat, go to ground, will make them very durable, especially when we combine that with our army ability Renovation Protocol. Disruption fields, I would 100% be using that on the Szarekh destroyers. Anything that they go into, they may well start punching into light vehicles. And the Will of the Overlord, I would be using that when it comes to our warriors also. And as I stated, using the Overlord to go with the warriors and giving the strats to the Szarekh destroyers, maybe the Connected Scarab Swarms. And when it comes to the Doomstalker, again, depending on what type of army I'm facing, whether I want to hide him first behind terrain, move him out of terrain when it has a suitable target, or if I'm going to put him and deploy him in the open straight away, depending on who I'm facing. But the point is that we really want to be getting this Doomstalker into position early and moving him as less as possible, because he wants to get the +1 to his hits from that heavy keyword on his Doomsday Blaster. But apart from that, that's pretty much everything. If you got to this point of the video, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it a lot. If there is anybody who you think would benefit from this video, please forward it on to them, as my aim is to try and help as many people get into Combat Patrol as possible. And also, if you would like me to review a particular Combat Patrol, maybe your favourite one, feel free to leave a comment down below. Thanks again, and look forward to seeing you next time. Bye bye.